Good morning, my dear students. I'm Miss Tania Poveda, and this is Accounting 1. Welcome back. All right, guys, as you remember, we don't have accounting too often, so it's very important you keep this information on your computer. You can download this video, or you can check this link in YouTube, or you can work in your booklet at home. You have different ways to save the information so you can study later. Let's start. It's very important for me and for you that we have this short review because probably we don't remember some information that we're going to check today and that we need to understand and to remember to continue with this class. Last time we were talking about manufacturing and services, and probably you remember this picture. Let's take a look about this. We've been studying about this a lot. You work in groups, you had presentations, you complete these charts. You did a great job on this. This is just to remember. When we're talking about manufacturing, we're talking about the transformation of raw material into ended goods or finished goods. So in this pyramid, we're talking about the second level or the secondary sector, as we have here. And when we talk about services, we're talking about untouchable products or the tertiary sector, which is here on the top. You probably remember these pictures. We were talking about manufacturing and we studied, and I showed you this link here. If you need to remember one more time, you're going to receive this PowerPoint presentation, so you can just click here and watch it again. We are not going to do it now, but you will have it here, so it's going to be available for you 24/7. So what is manufacturing? Manufacturing refers to a large-scale production of goods that converts raw materials, parts, and components into finished merchandise using machines. Let's go back to these pictures. So we have machines, we have raw materials, we have transformation. That's it. Easy, right? Good. And when we talk about services, if you pay attention on this word, you can see very fast pictures of different things. Probably newspapers, probably nature, maybe numbers, things like that. Well, it's very important we identify that when we talk about services, we are talking about a product that we cannot touch. For example, the service that a lawyer provides, or a teacher, or a counselor, or a doctor. Also, when maybe you have your internet on your phone, that internet service, that signal, you cannot touch, right? But it exists. It's there. It gives information, or it helps to provide information to your cell phone or to your computer. That's an untouchable product. That's a service. That's why we call it water service or electricity service or internet service. All right? So a service is something that someone does for you. Something that someone does for you. If you pay for electricity at home, that someone is the electricity company. And what does this company do? It provides electricity for your home. That's it. When we talk about internet, so what does the internet company do? It provides signal for your cell phone, for your computer. That's it. When you go to a doctor, of course the doctor check on you, look at your eyes, open your mouth, and check on your health and everything. That service that the doctor provides to you, that advice, that prescription, it's something that you cannot touch. It's not a table, it's not a cell phone. So that's why we call it a service, something that someone does for you. Here there is an example. It says, getting a haircut. You go for a haircut, they cut your hair. Of course, this person touched your hair, but that service is untouchable. That's it, it's very simple. And because we're talking about untouchable services, I want you to show this video about how to build a cruise. And probably you're asking like, okay, what's the relationship between building a cruise and services and manufacturing? Well, there is a huge connection between these things. And let me tell you 2 reasons. One, when you buy a ticket to take a cruise, you are buying for the service that you are going to receive in a cruise. And the second reason is because here in this video that I like it very much, they are going to show you how they make a cruise. Have you ever seen how they build a boat? Yes? No? Okay, let's see how they build a cruise. So like this, we're going to see how, or the whole process of manufacturing this huge ship. This is a ship. It's not a boat. This is a ship because it's a lot bigger than a boat. All right? So I invite you to watch the manufacturing process of a cruise ship, and then you will find a connection between services. After this, I'm going to continue with the class. So enjoy the video.
When I think about a cruise ship, it's essentially a huge skyscraper just on its side, floating in the ocean, full of people, ready to eat a lot.
How to build a cruise ship.
Cruise ships of today are absolutely modern marvels.
The scale of these things is incredible. I mean, these are literally floating cities. We're talking Broadway shows, multiple restaurants,
Buffets, shrimp, Mai Tais,
cocktail bars, bowling alleys.
too many margaritas.
A cruise ship can house as many as 8,000 people at once. That is a larger population than some small towns in America.
To build your own 20-story cruise ship, you will need 150 miles of pipes, 3,300 miles of electrical cables, 158,503 gallons of paint, 500,000 individual steel parts, and 1 bottle of champagne. Cost to build $1.4 billion plus shipping. Step 1. Start at the bottom and work your way up.
For many centuries, ships have been built from the keel up, and that's the best way to build a ship, right? You build it down its back where it needs to be the strongest.
So when you build a car, it goes down an assembly line and there's workers at every point in the car passes and they work on it. But when you're building a cruise ship has to stay in one place. So all the workers are the ones moving all the way around it.
Just building them requires so much space. We're literally talking 5 football fields. So you think about that distance, it's just incredible.
Step 2. Install prefabricated components.
The fundamental approach is that they try to assemble as much off-site as possible. The components arrive basically in modules. So you've got each of those different staterooms arriving sort of mostly pre-built.
All the 1,000+ rooms of this ship all have everything already in place because otherwise the workers couldn't build it. They make those hallways so tiny so they can fit more rooms. So they just pop all the rooms into place like Lego.
In order to build your modules, start with sheets of high-strength steel, up to 39 feet long and 1 inch thick. Cut steel sheets using plasma, laser, or oxyacetylene equipment, sold separately. Weld the metal together into 3-dimensional cubes. These are the building blocks which become the hull and cabins of your cruise ship.
They weld them together in box patterns to increase the strength by up to 4 times.
The extra strength of box-shaped modules can be demonstrated in our test laboratory. On its own, this flat, 1/4-inch thick board is unable to bear the weight of a 28-pound cinder block. But when 4 of the same boards are fastened together as a hollow 3-dimensional box, the load-bearing capacity is quadrupled. By the time you have affixed all your prefabricated components, your cruise ship will weigh over 200,000 tons. But don't worry, it won't sink, thanks to buoyancy.
Cruise ships look like marvels of engineering because they are. You can take this thing that's 1 million pounds or more and it floats.
It's one of those weird things you look at and in your brain, you're like, this shouldn't work. But because of science, it does.
The Archimedes principle says that an object will float if it weighs less than the amount of water that it displaces. So it's really about density. Something like a bowling ball will sink because it weighs more than the amount of water that takes up the same amount of space.
It's the buoyancy principle. That water is going to cause a force called the buoyant force to push back up. That's why it's a beach ball isn't very heavy, but it's really hard to pull under the water, right? That's because it's moving a lot more water out of the way than what it weighs, and that's why a cruise ship stays afloat.
The ship is made of a lot of metal, which is very heavy, but there's also a lot of air in all the rooms. So on the whole, the ship weighs less than a ship's worth of water, so it floats.
But it is kind of a comfort to know that no matter how much you eat on a cruise ship, like, you're not going to sink that thing. It's not going down.
Now that your vessel can float, you must give it the power to move. Step 3. Get your cruise ship cruising.
Modern cruise ships use a diesel-electric process to produce their propulsion. They use a diesel engine to drive an electric generator. And then the electricity that's generated drives electric motors, which are connected directly to the propellers.
Modern propellers are designed slightly different from the way that they used to do it before. Cruise ships use what are called azimuth thrusters, which are giant propellers inside of pods. The azimuth thruster replaces a rudder and a propeller system in one, and they work just like rudders, allowing the ship to turn on a dime. If the Titanic had azimuth thrusters, which definitely it did not, there's a chance that it may have been able to avoid the iceberg because it would have been able to maneuver and evade a little bit better.
Just imagining it in my head.
Build an azimuth thruster with a 200-ton bronze propeller and 30-foot-long pod.
Bronze is a pretty ideal metal for saltwater. It's resistant to corrosion and also resistant to bending and breaking.
Be sure to follow all instructions. Do not over-tighten. When finished, your azimuth thruster should look like this.
The way propellers work is that as they turn, they generate a difference in pressure behind and in front of the propellers. This accelerates the water back, which is what propels the ship forward. The propellers on a cruise ship move much more slowly than the propellers on an airplane because water is so much more dense than air.
There's a point at which a propeller can move too quickly through water, and it becomes inefficient. Modern cruise ships actually get a better transfer of energy by using slower, rotating propellers and higher-pitched blades.
Step 4. You're ready to set sail. It's time to launch your ship on her maiden voyage. Commemorate by breaking a bottle of champagne, A. Overhaul, B. Bon voyage!
All right, that was the end of the video. I hope that you enjoyed as much as I did. Actually, I did enjoy it. I watched it twice before this. No, this is not a science class. This is an accounting class. And remember, we're talking about manufacturing and services. So as you could see in the video, that's how you build a cruise ship. So that was a manufacturing process. And service, because they provide the service of a beautiful and comfortable trip. Well, that was just a review. Today we're going to start with market research. Any idea about what a market research is? When we talk about market research, we're talking about an investigation of the market. As we can read here, the original concept is the basic idea for something. In designing products and services, market research, finding out what people want, is of course very important. This may involve questionnaires or surveys. We're probably related to this because they are pretty often, with questions about what people buy and why. That's very important. Why do people buy this product and not the other? Perhaps with interviews in the street or by telephone. Probably they call you sometimes and ask you for a service like, how do you feel, how it was, things like that, right? There may be consumer panels or focus group where ordinary people meet to discuss product ideas informally. So kind of, you know, in a comfortable environment, open talk, etc. Perhaps the researchers will make sales forecasts, estimates of how many products will be sold. So when we're talking about sales forecast or projections in the future about how much they are going to sell, we're actually saving money because we're not producing too much, but the precise amount of products. All right, so here we have like consumer panels, focus group, questionnaires, surveys. These are instruments that can be used, used to study the market research. It's very important that we understand and define that market, and probably we studied this in entrepreneurship. If we haven't studied this yet, we will. But it's very important that we understand that market, please students, remember this, when we're talking about market research, market is not a place. It's not a supermarket, it's not Supermaxi, it's not Rio Centro, it's not a mall. Market is a group of people. Like Ecuador is a market, United States is a market. Australia, England, Peru, Brazil, Panama, France, they are markets. For example, when we export coffee to other countries, we export coffee to other markets. Those people, those buyers are a market. So when we're talking about market research, in that case, we're talking about the research, the analysis of a group of people. Market is a group of people who share a purchasing desire, the desire of buying something, they want to buy something, decision, criteria, and demographic, psychographic influences. In other words, it's a group of people that we study, we analyze what they want, what they need. All right, remember that. A market, when talking about market research, is a group of people. For example, a group of women is a market for products for women. A group of men is a market for products for men. In general, that can be a big division of the market. Then we can divide the market, or we can divide this group of people in different other ways. For example, age, we can divide like teenagers. There is a market for products for teenagers. Probably, does it happen to you that there is something that you like really much, very, very much, and you talk to your parents and they are like, what? Ew, they don't like it? Of course they don't, because that product, it's not for them. It's not for that kind of people. It's not for that market. It's for you, for a market of teenagers. All right, so that's a definition of market. And now what is a research? That's kind of easier because research, it's other way to say investigation. It's other way to say look for or looking for. Carry out trials, carry out test or only test, trial, do test on, try out, assess, etc. All right, so when we're talking about market research, actually we're talking about the investigation of a specific group of people. That is my definition, Miss Dania's definition, all right? This is not in any book, it's in my head. So market research is the investigation or the analysis or the collection of information from a specific group of people. Now here in this definition, we have that the market research is the process of collecting, analyzing, and interpreting data. Data is another way to say information about your target market or a specific market, consumers, competitors, and the industry as a whole. All right, so that's a market research. You go and talk to people with different instruments like surveys, questionnaires, focus group, etc. You go out or do it online and you talk to people to analyze what they like, what they need, why yes, why no, how can you improve, why they are not buying your product, why they are buying other brand, other product. All right, so this is for you to collect information and to take decisions, important decisions for you and your business. All right, do you remember the video of the cruise ship? Yes? Well, so I wanted to use these pictures to show you different types of consumers or users of this product, a cruise ship or a cruise service. As we can see here, we have a market. This is a market, probably retired people. I'm saying probably because I don't know these people. I don't know them, of course. I just took these pictures from online. So I'm guessing that probably they are this kind of product or consumers. These consumers are probably retired people, maybe families with children, couples with children, maybe people who wants to enjoy by themselves, alone, or maybe friends hanging out together. All right, so here we have 4 different markets. From different markets. We have retired people, we have families, people by themselves, and friends. If you see in the pictures, probably they have different ages. We have men, we have women, we have girls, we have boys, different markets, all right? So this is just to show you the kind of market that a cruise ship can focus their advertising, their publicity, their market research. All right? So when we develop and launch a product, I'm going to read this part. Product launch is when the product is finished and you launch it, you put it into the market. So it's officially available for sale. This is the big moment. I love this expression, the big moment. I'm going to do something. Big moment. All right. If there is something wrong, with a product, what companies usually do is that they take it back to the company before it's before it's sold, so they can correct that mistake and don't have problems with the market. So people won't complain and won't be upset or mad at them, right? So today, as I told you, we're going to talk about development and launch, and this in this section, right? We're going to complete this. This is going to be your homework. Complete this talk by a marketing specialist using words from A and B. This is B and A we already read it before. And here we have the big moment. What is the big moment? Let me go back. The launching or product launch. Remember, we were talking about a cruise ship. So we're going to see how they finally launched this beautiful ship into the market. Or in this case, we're going to see how they put it into the water. And let's enjoy this video. All right, so this is how they put a product into a market. Enjoy this video one more time.
Well, my name is Gus Anderson. I am the captain on board the Harmony of the Seas, and behind me here we have the Allure of the Seas, and on the other side of her we have the Oasis of the Seas.
It's unusual. I mean, it's the three of the world's largest cruise ships all coming together. We're calling it the Three Sisters.
I couldn't be more proud of the Three Sisters, and it is such an accomplishment for Royal Caribbean International to bring together the three largest cruise ships in the world. It really is historic for the entire cruising industry.
Okay, Allure, Harmony, we're going to continue to come up to 2-3 knots and pass you here. We have the...
Of course, it's a logistical challenge. It requires a lot of planning way in advance to orchestrate this.
This wasn't just a situation where we saw that all three ships would be in the same spot and let's take a picture. This is where itineraries were planned out well in advance. That way we could get all Three Sisters together in order to have this incredible occasion.
We have came all the way across the Atlantic to be here. The Allure changed their itinerary to come up and meet us, and Oasis is on the way to her new home port up in Port Canaveral, and right now we're outside of Fort Lauderdale, our new home. So absolutely amazing.
And that's it. So now you know how a cruise ship is built. You know the process of manufacturing. You know the market or the kind of people that consume this product or that use this service. And finally, the launching of this product. Congratulations, you learned the whole process of launching a product. All right. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for your attention. Please stay home. All right. Wash your hands. Take care. Stay with your parents. Pray every night. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Thank you very much one more time for your attention, and bye-bye.